to me, doing online marketing and content creation is great because it's organic. You don't have to pay for it, and it's all free traffic and free leads.
You're listening to the Architect My Life podcast, a show dedicated to empowering women architects and designers to achieve business growth, financial freedom, and health and wellness. I'm Aya Schlachter, your host and CEO of MGS Global Group. Our company provides Revit, ArchiCAD, and CAD drafting services to busy architects and design firm owners. MGS Global started as a part-time gig when I was a new mom, but it has now grown into a thriving business that provides drafting support to creatives, helping everyone maintain a healthy work-life balance. This podcast is proudly presented by MGS Global Group. Now let's dive into this episode. Welcome to the Architect My Life podcast. I'm really excited because I have a very, very special guest, Joann.
Hi.
Welcome to Cleveland. Is this a surprise or what, people?
This is my first time in Cleveland. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's strange because Joann and I text a lot because we work a lot at night. And we both not burned out, but we just really had a lot of rough nights and weekends. You planning for the mental health summit and work,
and
right?
You were doing the Women Leadership Summit.
Yeah, it was a lot. And I invited Joann to come to Cleveland after the summit so she can relax. And normally she'll say no, but this time
I just really needed a break from my house.
And then you bought your ticket and here she is.
This is very random. And instead of taking a break, we're recording a podcast.
Of course, Joann, of course.
This is what happens when you put two
Asians.
Well, two entrepreneurs together. You just have to do something instead of just doing nothing.
Yeah. So our topic today is all about marketing. We already took a break, right? We took like a few hours off.
We went to the Cleveland Museum.
Yeah, we had fun. It's very relaxing.
It was nice.
But this was Joann's idea. We were really wanting to do a podcast about something, and she thought about doing a marketing podcast, like getting questions from the audience in terms of marketing for architects. So we gathered a bunch of questions from Facebook and LinkedIn, and Joann is here to answer all your questions. Which question do you want to start with, Joann?
We'll start with the first one from Sylvia, I think. So
yeah, and everything marketing related, digital marketing, traditional marketing, anything that. Anyway, Joann, can you explain what marketing is for people who don't know really what it is?
That is a very broad question. I think marketing is just a way to get leads to come to your business. There's a lot of different ways, different strategies to find people. And a lot of it is about brand building, like building your brand online nowadays. I mean, traditionally, it might not be online, but nowadays there's a lot of digital marketing going on. And you basically is just building your brand online, creating content, and then finding a way to get those people, get those eyeballs, and turn them into clients. And that's kind of, I guess, what marketing is.
So it's basically inbounds in a way?
Yeah. So the difference, I would say, between marketing and sales is marketing really is trying to attract inbound leads. Sales, a lot of times you would do outbounds where you call people, like even cold calling or cold emailing people to get a sale. But marketing is like even a step before you get on a sales call. Like, how do you get people on a sales call? Is you need marketing to get those eyeballs on your services, on your business, before you can convert them into a sales call.
So that sounds very overwhelming, especially for architects. That's why we're here to answer your questions. So we got a question from Sylvia Lee. How do you get comfortable sharing things online? How do you become an expert at a topic? Because I think a lot of things with marketing is really to build credibility and also thought leadership. So how do you decide what you're good at and put yourself out there.
Yeah. I think that's more of a question of what makes you the expert on a topic. And you kind of have to there's a lot of internal thinking that you need to figure out what first of all, what do you like to do? Are you good at what that thing is that you like to do? Because you could like something and not be good at it. Like I like swimming and I'm not great at swimming. So it's a combination of do you like to do that thing? Are you good at it? Can you get people results? And that's the most important thing. So it's either you're getting yourself results or you can get someone a result. For example, if you're an architect, can you, I think architect is already an expert in architecture. It's like you have your license, you already know what you're doing, right? So it's pretty straightforward to say you can be an expert in architecture, and then you have to figure out can you get your clients results. And the result of an architecture client, again, is pretty straightforward. Can you help them build a house? Right? So it's just if you can find proof that you can get someone a result, then you can be seen as the expert on the topic, I think.
Yeah, that's true. But also, other people, like another question from Ella, she's asking, do you have any advice for people who are uncomfortable with self promotion and putting yourself out there? A lot of being comfortable about your knowing what you know and what you're
Mm-hmm.
good at is also putting yourself out there. And I always, you know, like tell Joanne how amazing she is. She claims she's an introvert, but she really puts herself out there. I remember when you only had like 300 people in your group in the Women Architect Collective. Every day she was posting, and now she's, I think, at 5,000, almost
Almost
5,000.
5,000.
So, how do you be comfortable with putting people out there, especially if you're an introvert?
Yeah, and a lot of times I get a lot of Asians asking about this because I think I grew up in a culture where you're not supposed to be bragging. You're supposed to be humble. You're not supposed to ask for anything, and that's how I grew up. And I always tell people, in order to get comfortable with the idea of like personal branding, self promotion, all these things, putting yourself out there, you first have to recognize that I like to see personal branding not as self promotion, but as self discovery, or I would say like self development, because I really just use it as a tool to like figure out what I want to do, get really clear on who I am. Because through content creation, through building my personal brand, I just get a better idea of like who am I, who I want people to see me as. And from there, you basically just documenting and sharing what you know and thinking less about how people think about you. I think that's the most important thing, is that fear of other people's judgment when you are putting yourself out there. It's like what is my mom gonna think about me?
Yeah, you know what? I agree with Joanne because I also started Architect My Life, and I really didn't want to put myself out there because I was too shy, or like
Mm-hmm.
my accent might be too strong, or I giggle a lot. But my friend told me, it's not really about you, but it's about the value you create for your audience. And the reason why I started Architect My Life and the Women Architect Collective is not because of us. It's because we want to share what we
Yeah.
know and what we've built. So that's why I've been doing a lot of speaking now, and I get still, butterflies in my stomach. I still get nervous. I get anxiety sometimes. But at the end of the day, after the event or after the keynote or
Mm-hmm.
after the talk, you have people reaching out to you, thanking you. They don't care if, like, for instance, Leah in your event, like she
Yeah.
was wearing a bathrobe
Right.
because she had COVID, but no one even flinched
Right.
because she gave us really good value.
Right. It's not really about how you like look like or what people think about. It's I think the best advice I've heard about overcoming your self doubts and the fear of putting yourself out there is think less about yourself, but think more about the people that you're helping. Because there's no one is out there really judging you 24/7. Like no one has time to think about you.
Actually, no one really. You're the only one judging yourself.
Exactly. Like even my parents don't think about me 24/7. So no one is out there thinking about you and looking on your Facebook and judging you like you think they are, but most of the time they're not. So you're the one judging yourself, and I think if you can try to think less about yourself and think more about the people that you're helping and the value you're giving them and really enjoying the process, then it would be much easier.
So, yes, it's about them, not you. If you have a service or a product or some value you can provide and you know you can help other people, just do it.
Yeah, definitely.
So, another question from John Jones. Is there a line between personal versus professional branding? What's the difference? And what are the do's and don'ts?
Ooh, that's a good question. I would say more like personal branding versus company branding, which is what I think you mean by professional branding. So I think nowadays the lines are kind of blurred. A lot of big companies, especially I would say in the design space, still has some kind of personal branding in it. Like for example, if you look at Studio McGee, they're a company brand, right? The name is a company brand. They do interior design services and other things, but they have a personal brand inside the company brand. Or you look at even if you look at Big, who is a company brand, but their brand is really Bianco. I can never really say his name right, but it's his personal brand that builds the company. So I think the lines are blurred nowadays a lot of time because you kind of people are just resonating more with a person than a company and a business. They trust people online more than they would trust what a business is saying about themselves. So that's why I think those lines are kind of blurred. Kind of like even you in your business, like you're becoming your personal brand.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't think that, I started Architect My Life because I wanted to help women architects and entrepreneurs.
Mm-hmm.
But then now the business grew because people now associate me with the business, which is MGS Global. So I had no intentions really of like, I mean, I didn't know that the direct impact of Architect My Life and the business was going to be really massive. And we've grown like triple the size of the company because people know the person behind MGS Global, right? We're an outsourcing company. There's like 100 outsourcing companies you can find in India, China, Philippines. But who is the person behind that? So, and even like, for instance, Gwyneth Paltrow, she owns Goop, right? People know her more than Goop. But again, it's becoming successful because of her as a credibility factor. So architects need to be also really promoting their personal brand and being authentic, right,
Yeah.
Joann? Like really showing yourself, being true to yourself. Like, I go to the gym and I'm like hot and sweaty and like it doesn't matter,
You posted a picture of you like going to the gym and
or
sweaty
like
on LinkedIn.
yeah, but that's real, right? We're not always made up, but that's who I am. Or like when I'm taking my kids to jujitsu or Muay Thai, because we're people behind the brand, right,
Right.
Joann?
And people want to know the people behind the brand. I think the days of like these big corporations or big businesses where it's all just about the products or the services is kind of gone because of social media.
Yeah.
People really want to see who is behind the brand. Even if you look at I was working with this one coaching clients and she was like, but you look at other firms, they don't show their people, they just show their projects. But then I told her, go look at Gensler's Instagram right now, or go look at these big firms like SOM. They're starting to show their people. I mean, they don't have one person behind their brand, right? Because they're a huge company, they have thousands of employees. And what they do is they do these Instagram reels of like day in the life working at Gensler with one of their employees. Like they have probably, I don't know, 50 reels just of their employees working at Gensler. They show their client presentation process. They show just the day-to-day life of working in the firm. So even if you are a bigger company and you're like, I don't want to be the face of my brand because I don't want to just be like, I am the brand, then show your employee, show the people behind it. That's what people want to know.
And it's also a good client, talent acquisition too. If you are you're busy and you need to acquire more talent and bring people into the door, it's also good to show the day to day of what's going
Right.
on in the company, so people who are applying can see what your company is about. So, like in one of the talks that I said, like in the Women's Leadership Summit, hiring is a two-way street,
Right.
right? So again, this off topic, but everything that you do really boils down to marketing yourself and the business.
Yeah. It's like they call it employer branding, right? Like branding your company in a way that people would want to work there. And part of that is just showing your team, showing how people work in your company, and more talents would like they would know what your culture is and they would want to work there.
Yeah. Another question from Nora, Cleveland Women Architects co-chair. Last night we talked
We
about
met we met Nora in
yeah.
person for the
Yes, it's
first
pretty
time.
cool. So she asked how to create an integrated marketing strategy, because there's so many social media platforms. It's kind of confusing what to do. What's the best for to get inbounds as an architect?
First, you have to figure out where your audience lives. So there are so many social media channels out there, that's right. And you kind of have to know where they hang out. Where are people hanging out? So, for example, if you're an architecture firm and you do residential work and it's more just, one on one single family house, so you're just working with a family, so you're just working with a person, those people are more likely to be hanging out on Instagram, right? Looking at pretty pictures, or Pinterest when they're trying to find like inspiration for a bathroom renovation. So if you're working with, I would say, residential, typically people would be on those platforms like Instagram, Pinterest. But if you're more like a B2B architecture firm, like you're working with institution, hospitals, commercial real estate developers, more company business, then probably LinkedIn is the channel where they hang out. So you kind of have to know your audience and then figure out where they get their content from. There's a lot of like audience research that as marketer that we would do and figure out like where is my audience hanging out, what social media channel are they on, what blogs do they read, what journals do they read, what magazines they read, right? And then pick those channels to focus on first.
I have a personal story of success. I mean, it's weird, but I didn't think of this. I'm just sharing because it's marketing. One of my business consultants told me to write about solar energy and electric vehicle parking lot design. And this is one of my innovation consultants 3 years ago. He said, write about solar energy and parking lot design and how it's gonna change the parking lots of the future.
Mm-hmm.
So I wrote that 3 years ago. Now I work with parking lots and solar energy, but they didn't even see. I think they may have found me because of that article 3 years later.
Yeah.
And now we're doing a lot of parking lots, as that's a proof of concept, but it didn't happen right away.
Right.
So like if thought leadership articles, writing blogs that your customers might want to see because you're giving value. Again,
Right.
it's about them.
Yep. And it's gonna take time. Like marketing is a long game, and I think a lot of people jump into marketing, especially nowadays, social media is like, oh, I'm gonna get 10,000 followers like tomorrow. Like you're not, and you, and even if you have 10,000 followers, it's gonna take them months to convert into clients. So it's definitely a long game.
It's really fun. Like I'm gonna share a personal story. The way I do my marketing is I go to expos and I travel and I go to the HD Expo. I mean, it got really exhausting. And when you do expos and if you do happy hours, you're lucky if you bump into 4 or 5 people. But if you create a blog, if you write a blog, you can get 500 eyeballs in LinkedIn versus meeting and traveling and getting on a plane and spending all
Right.
this money to meet 4 people. So digital marketing is actually really a very economical way to generate leads,
Yep.
right?
Yeah. I mean, you think about it, right? People pays millions of dollars to put an ad like on the side of the highway. But right, but then you can put up something on LinkedIn and it might get thousands of views. So it's, to me, doing online marketing and content creation is great because it's organic. You don't have to pay for it, and it's all free traffic and free leads.
Yeah, and also you can't really, I mean, there's a question where can you really directly see where the client is coming from? Is it from LinkedIn, from Instagram, from Facebook? But Joanne, you said something about 7 points of contact or before people
Mm.
make a sale. Can you explain that?
Yeah. So there's a study, and I don't remember exactly where it came from, but basically, nowadays, a customer takes 7 points of context before they make a decision to buy from you. So I think it would even be longer for architecture services because it's so expensive compared to if you just buy, like, I don't know, an Apple, right? If it's a cheaper product, the journey of someone deciding to buy from you will be shorter. If it's more expensive, it's longer. It makes sense. So on average, for someone to make a decision to buy, it takes them 7 points of context. And these contexts can be anything from seeing an ad on Facebook, it can be an email that you send to them, it can be a blog post they find on Google, it can be an Instagram post they saw or a LinkedIn post. On just in total, on average, they need to see you at least 7 times before they would make a decision to buy.
Yeah, it might sound overwhelming, but if you just schedule like, if I mean it's possible. Maybe do one blog a month. That's, a thought leadership blog, really quality blog a month,
Mm-hmm.
and post on Instagram maybe one project per week. And also as if you're the firm owner, maybe post yourself running and like hanging out with their family. So that's also part of it. Doesn't have to be this massive case study or this
Yeah.
like the photo taken by a amazing photographer. No, it just you just have to be consistent and schedule it. So I know it sounds overwhelming, but if you just schedule it, maybe do one long form blog per month, right? Like what are your strategies to make it easier for architects to implement? Because everyone's busy. We're too busy
I know.
drafting and talking to clients and going to the site. So what are
Yeah.
maybe your top 3 steps before we wrap up? Top 3 steps to help architects, get started and not intimidated.
Um, I would say start on one social media platform. Don't start on every one of them. Just start with one that you know your ideal client is hanging out. Like I said, if you do residential, start on Instagram. If you do commercial, start on LinkedIn. It's really straightforward. Um, just start posting on one social media platform. Do as much as you can. If you say I can only post once a week, do once a week. If you can do twice a week, do twice a week, right? Do whatever you can do best to post consistently, because there's not there's a lot of guru out there that will tell you, oh, I have this strategy that can get you like thousands of followers, but consistency is the only strategy you need.
That's true, right?
If you don't post consistently, there's no magic bullet to get you like eyeballs on your content. So just pick a frequency that you can do once a week, twice a week to post consistently. I would start there first. And once you get better at it, once you get on a rhythm, you get traction, then I would say, yeah, like write a blog post once a month, right? As again, do as much as you can, whatever you think you can do, and do those thought leadership blog posts, share it on your social media. find topics that your people would care about. Go on, I forgot what that's website called. I don't remember, but I'll give you the link to the website. You can go on and just type in or even if you just go on Google and type in a topic, and you'll see all these people also ask questions. Just pick those questions, right? For example, if you do kitchen renovation, just type in kitchen renovation in your area in Google, and then just go on people also ask. There's a section on the Google search page, and just answer one of those questions in a blog post. That's the most straightforward way to start your blog, and the easiest, I would say, beginner friendly way. And I would just start there.
I have one more tip. I always say this to architects, if we can spend 40, 50 hours drafting or 60 hours doing the thing that is, like all the things that we have to do as a business owner, carve out 30 minutes a week for marketing and make an appointment with yourself in your calendar to do some marketing. And trust me, it really, really works. That's why I'm happy that Joann's here. Like, we're supposed to be resting and like chilling, but we can't help it.
I don't think we can chill.
Right,
We're
Joann.
we're two workaholics that just have to.
I wanted to actually interview Joann, but I didn't want to ask her because she just came from her summit. But she texted me out from the plane. Or when she landed, "Hey Aya, are we doing a podcast?" I'm like, "Yes." This is helping everyone. So I really hope that you can find Joann on Joann. What's your website, Joann?
JoannLloyd.com.
And book a strategy call with her. Like, she's amazing, and I'm so lucky to have her in Cleveland. So we're gonna enjoy the rest of the weekend, right, Joann? We'll do a lot of fun things. Any parting words?
No, just go show your face, and I just want every architect to go and show your life and show your face online and build your personal brand.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Architect My Life, a podcast brought to you by MGS Global Group. I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you'd like to add to the conversation through your own experiences, I encourage you to be a guest in one of our upcoming episodes. Visit architectmylife.com to apply and learn how. I firmly believe that a strong community drives change and fosters success. If you'd like to be part of this community, join the All-Women Architect My Life Facebook group. Please take a moment to review us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to your podcasts. Thanks again for listening. I'm Aya Schlochter. Until next time.